Hey everybody. So I wanted to share a quick video to show you guys my Ludum Dare. Ludum Dare? It's Latin, so I think it's Ludum Dare. My entry for Ludum Dare 30, which is a big game jam that happens, I believe, 4 times a year. There's a 48-hour competition where you have to work alone, and then there's a 72-hour competition where you can work with a team. And me and some friends took part in the 72-hour one. And this is the first time we've done a game jam, so this thing is kind of a buggy mess, but that's okay. It's we do it for the experience. Anyways, I made a blog post in more detail about what it was like to do the game jam and why I did it and stuff like that. I'll link that in the description if you want to go read it. This video I primarily just wanted to show you guys what I made, or what we made, I guess. So this is Risk of Lane. The title is a joke because we kind of accidentally ended up with this color scheme that looked almost identical to the color scheme in Risk of Rain. And in this game you build like lanes between systems, so we thought that would be kind of funny. Mostly we just can't think of good names, so we made a parody name. So the theme they announce a theme when the competition starts, and the theme was Connected Worlds, and at first I was not super into that, because the only thing I could think of was like some kind of indie puzzle platformer where you switch between different worlds, and that's been done like a million times. But then we decided to take it a little bit more literally, and so we made a game about connecting essentially solar systems together with like space lanes is what we call them, but they're like jump gates essentially, and moving ships throughout them. So this was supposed to be kind of a mini 4X or a mini 4X game, which if you're not aware what that is, it's expand, exploit, explore, exterminate. Not necessarily in that order. Anyways, it's like a big space grand strategy game that looks like we ran out of stars on the main screen. Yeah, it just randomly generates a bunch of stars and moves the camera slowly through them, and I guess I took too long. So yeah, we started working on that. I did most of the like architecture type low-level stuff, like calculating how like ships can find their way through the planets and what kind of information or systems, not planets, sorry. I'm going to do that a lot. What information the systems know, what information the space lanes know, and the ship objects and stuff like that. And then Dylan did all of the art and all of the UI stuff, as well as like the random star placement and camera work and stuff like that. And then our good friend Nicholas Shooter managed to whip up some music for us super fast. So let's go ahead and show you what we made. So the goal was, here's some randomly generated planets. You can see there's like a nice parallax effect with the stars. The goal was to make like I said earlier, a sort of mini 4X game where you essentially have a bunch of planets. You start with one that's like your home system, and then you start building lanes between them, like that. So we didn't actually get like the resource system working, so you can kind of just build whatever you want, wherever you want. You don't have a home planet or anything. Mostly because we took on way too much for a game jam. Anyway, so you connect systems to your empire, and as you sort of grow it, you're making a decision. Each planet can either be devoted to collecting resources or building warships. And essentially the point of the game was almost like a puzzle organization element, is you have to decide which planets are producing resources and which ones are consuming them, and plan your routes accordingly. In the final version, these lanes would have been upgradable. Right now only one ship can pass through them at a time, but theoretically you could upgrade them so that I think as many as 4 pass through at a time, so you kind of can invest in like space highways that move faster than other routes, and then these less important ones you can leave off to the side, not having a super high capacity. And so that's what the game is about, is like diverting resources to your appropriate areas. Are you sending ships, like cargo ships, to go build more warships to send to your enemy, or are you sending them to go build more space lanes to get more resources to be able to build more ships to send to your enemy later? So that was kind of going to be the trade-off. All we really got in is just the super basic prototype. So like we can build a factory here, which would produce warships. It unfortunately doesn't do anything. And we can build a mine here, and then we can kind of tell this mine to send ships to this factory. And you'll see them start popping out in a second. Yeah, there they go, just little white dots. And they kind of orbit this system while they're waiting for their turn to jump, and then when the lane tells them they could jump, they get to go. So we can build another mine here, and we can set its destination to the same system, and it'll start producing them as well, maybe? Yeah, there it goes. And so now there's going to be more hanging out in this system than can go through, because only one can jump through at a time. So you'll start to see them sort of build up. So that's what the game is about. It's about controlling this sort of traffic element. That's what the game should have been about. This is all we really got through. Partly because it was our first game jam, we really haven't worked together on that much. Like, we've kind of had game ideas before, and oh, there goes my Spotify, freaking out. We've sort of worked on game ideas before, but we haven't really finished anything together, so this was our first time like attempting to go from start to finish to build something. And I think it went pretty well. I mean, we learned a lot. We had like kind of some version control issues in the beginning, and we maybe scoped a bit too high, so we'll see what we do next game jam. But yeah, I definitely want to do more game jams in the future. This was really fun. If you have any interest in making games, you should do game jams. They're awesome. It also randomly generates these planet name or these system names from a bunch of like actual star names that exist. Like in real life, stars tend to have this sort of like Perseus Geminorum sort of name thing, and then we just basically gave it a list of names to choose from, and we put our names on the list. So there's Corey and Dylan, our potential, like here's Caprica Dylan, and actually I think we got really lucky, and down here there's Corey Dylan 60, that's pretty unlikely because the lists are pretty big. So yeah, this is what we made. I'll put a link to this in the description if you want to like go check it out. I've got some kind of instructions here. And like I said, I'll also link that blog post so you can read about how it was made. Yeah, hopefully I'll show you guys what we do next. Game Jam, which I think will probably just be the next Ludum Dare, and we'll see what we do then. Later.